Matt Langfield. Welcome to the Buyer's Insight.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming. It's great to have you. Now, look, I just want to dive straight in and rewind to the very beginning on, where you grew up to where you are today. So if you could fill in the listeners.
Of course. Mate, I'm Brisbane, born and raised. Born in Brisbane, lived in Brisbane my entire life. South of Brisbane, since I was born. So I've gone to school here, grown up, friends, family, we're all in Brisbane. So, I know every agent says they know their area like the back of their hand. But
What side of Brisbane did you grow up on?
South of the river. So I've been in Norman Park, Camp Hill and Coorparoo. That's the areas I've lived in for my entire life. So I went to school in Norman Park in East Brisbane. I went to kindergarten in Camp Hill. So, mate, I've lived in Seven Hills for like 80% of my life. So, taking it back to, the beginning days, mate, for as long as I've been in Brisbane. I've been in that south area, and I suppose now looking into the professional career, I'm in the same place.
Great. Okay. Good spot. And that's obviously where you sell a lot of property at the moment.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, you're a lead agent at Place Estate Agents.
Correct.
On the south side. And can you inform us a little bit more about what areas you actually cover, like what suburbs?
Yeah, 100%. So to take a step back, so we work in a team, and we have a few different agents in the team. We have 3 lead agents, but we cover pretty much the big suburbs for us are Camp Hill, Coorparoo and Norman Park. That's our crux, the 3 biggest suburbs we work in. Given the size of our team, given we have 3 agents, lead agents in that role, we also branch out into adjoining suburbs. Holland Park comes to mind. Tarragindi has been a big one. Mount Gravatt, Morningside, but still focusing around, like I said at the beginning, those first 3 suburbs, the Camp Hill, the Coorparoo, and the Norman Park. That's the big majority of our business.
Yeah. And you guys are pretty heavy on the luxury sort of houses in those areas as well, right? Yeah,
we're very fortunate to be able to transact a lot of property in that, if you go 2.5 to 3, 4, 4.5, that's our, what I would say, our market. We are seemingly becoming more and more known for that, luxury, new build. Obviously have a lot of good relationships with a lot of well-established developers. We work hard for them, and, over the course of many years, we've just seemingly attracted more of those clients, and then henceforth more of that stock. So they are definitely, I'll agree with you, beautiful. Yeah, no, great properties. Hey, I've seen quite a few of them. And so what sort of inspired you to start a career in real estate, and how's the journey been so far? Yeah, so I went to university first up. So I went to University of Queensland, and I did a Bachelor of Business Management. Straight out of school, majoring in real estate and development. And that was a pretty broad subject, and I was getting into the last semester of my university studies, and I was thinking to myself, well, I've just put in a 3-year slog straight out of school, and I've paid money, and I'm about to graduate. I might, it probably is the right time for me to start looking for that next step, or actually get a job so I can make some money and start to pay off my debt at university. And, looking out, as everyone does, you start to look at a whole number of jobs as junior entry-level positions, and you start to go to interviews, meet, friends and family who have done it before. And I, seemingly found a lot of interest in the sales associate roles for residential property. Easily the biggest thing for me that attracted me was, the feeling of I won't lie to you, the commission. You go in as a young guy into these roles, and they say, a little bit more structured. You work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and, you get paid this, and then you work here for a year, and then you're here, and then 10, 15 years down the track, you'll be here. And for me, didn't gel well. The biggest thing for me about real estate is, well, you'll get paid, and you'll succeed, and you'll go as quickly as you want. If you want to just go at couple miles an hour, you can, or if you want to go 100 miles an hour, you can. So, when I first got into real estate, that was the attractor for me. It was, hey, it's going to be a bit of a slog. It's not going to be easy. But if you commit, if you get in the right market with the right agent to mentor and to coach you, you're going to go at such a fast rate that, you know, for a young guy in real estate, I look back and I go, I'm so happy I went down that pathway.
Jumped in, yeah. That's the way. And what would you say are some of the key attributes that someone would have to be successful as a real estate agent?
Yeah, you've almost, like, I always think about it, right? You're almost your own boss, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well, because you are your own boss. But, you know, in real estate, when I initially started at Place, you know, when I was 18, 19 years old, you obviously work, well, I did as a sales associate for a lead agent or for a director.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing that quickly became apparent to me was that, yes, you know, you are there to service them and their clientele, but you're also there to build your own business.
Yeah.
So, you know, to build your own business, you've got to be 100% committed. And to be 100% committed, sometimes there are sacrifices that you have to make. You know, as a young guy, coming from university lifestyle, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, it's great. Go out for a drink and go clubbing, you know, go hard, right? And I'm not going to lie to you, I did all of it.
Yeah.
I love it. I still love it. You know, every now and then you need to switch off and relax with your friends. But, you know, over that first 6, 8, 12 months in that junior role, you know, I had to forego all of that.
Yeah.
You're rocking up for 8, 9 hours of open homes on Saturday. You can't be hungover and, you know, unkept and slow. So just being surrounded by those people, high-performing agents, I would just say you got to be 100% committed.
Yeah.
And you got to be a bit resilient, because if I can say anything, you'll make a lot of mistakes from personal experience.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing is learning from them.
Yeah.
And then picking yourself up and going,
yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, wow, I made that mistake and I probably don't want to do that again. But, you know, the quickest thing my mentor, Dennis, taught me was you'll make mistakes, but like everyone says, if you learn from it, you know, it's actually a good thing. So flip a bad thing, turn it into a good thing. If you match that with a commitment, then I think you'll do really well.
Yeah. Would you say that you've also got to be really good at like taking rejection?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, I don't think anyone really shies away from the fact that when you start in real estate or sales in general, you know, the cold calling, the prospecting, the door knocking, you're a young kid out there in a suit, got your hair done, got your shoes on, and you're out there knocking doors or calling people. And, you know, those first calls, I was thinking to myself, well, what do I have to offer? Yeah. And sometimes, like you said, you got to fail, because I'd end up knocking on someone's door and
you're not 100% sure what to say.
Yeah, why am I there?
Yeah.
So
especially when you're super new, it's like, what can you really offer, right?
Exactly.
And you're just trying to get in the door.
Exactly. You're trying to, and sometimes you can be a little bit like too eager. Yeah. You just like, you want it too bad.
And if they smell that on you, you lose it straight away.
And people, you know, I think door knocking is one thing, but you know, that never really was my way to gain business. It was the cold calling for me. Like in the time it would take me to door knock, you know, 100 doors, I could call 10 times that. Yeah. But yeah, to spin it back, the rejection, 100%, you've got to have tough skin. Yeah. And I suppose the hardest thing is you've got to, you know, you've got to understand that these people aren't being mean, but they're just not in need of your services right now. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's hard, I suppose, when you do that for quite a few hours every day for a few months. To you know, small wins.
Yeah, I can imagine. Do you, like, with your prospecting, do you have like a structure that you follow every day? Like, are you door knocking? Are you mainly just on the phones? Do you have someone else that's door knocking, setting up appointments that you attend, or how does it work?
I suppose to break it down into two different pathways, I consider obviously pathway one, when I started, like all structured, you do this at this time on this day, and that was me for the first, let's say, year, first 12 months. Now it's obviously a little bit different. You grow, you evolve, and maybe you don't have to do some of the things you did on day one as you do now. Yeah. But if I spin it back to day one, a lot of agents, they build their ideal week. And if you have a mentor, it's very, very good to just ask them, well, what worked for you? Yeah. Right. So for me, like I said before, door knocking, it wasn't my forte. I didn't have any luck with it.
Yeah.
I reckon I door knocked.
What would you find was the most challenging thing about door knocking?
Yeah, I just felt personally, right, if I went and knocked on someone's, and this is coming like into the COVID market.
Yeah.
So people, you're rocking up. Some people are opening the door with a mask on.
Yeah.
And the first thing you go is, oh, I don't have a mask on. This person has a mask on.
Yeah.
COVID-19, should I be here? So that was going on. But also just for me, like I felt it was a bit, that there was already a big boundary or hurdle you had to jump, as opposed to picking up the phone and just saying, look, my name's Matt Langfield. I'm calling from place. I just sold this one up the road.
Yeah.
Would you like to know how much it sold for?
Yeah.
As opposed to if I knock on that door, from the moment they open the door, they just see you as that salesperson.
Yeah.
And for me, the hurdle was much bigger to jump than if I just pick up the phone and I just say, look, do you mind if I have 2 minutes of your time? I'm just calling to let you know what it sold for.
Yeah.
I know you might not be selling, but if I lived here, 3 doors down from a record sale for the suburb, I would like to know what the new suburb record is. It's that informal way that I found got me in the door. Door knocking, not so much.
Yeah. So basically provide them with some value, some information about the area, and then lead into potentially, would you like to know what your property's worth, and go down that road.
Build the relationship. One of the biggest problems I encountered, you talk about the rejection at the start of your career. I was expecting me to door knock someone or call them and they'd go, yeah, of course we'd like an appraisal. Oh, yeah, you're an agent. Yes, we'll sell. Yeah. Did you bring the Form 6? Can I sell? That was my conception of how real estate worked. You just call someone, 1 in 5, 1 in 10. Oh, yeah, we'll sell. Just where do I sign? Let's book it in.
Yeah.
Realizing that it's not quite that. So,
not.
Then switching into developing a relationship and realizing that first 1, 2, 5, 10 phone calls may just be, my goal is for them to save my number.
Yeah.
In their phone. That's it.
Just remember you.
If I call them for the 5th, 6th time in a month or 2 and they go, oh, hey, Matt, how are you? Instead of answering, oh, hi, this is Jack from, who's this? For me, that's, little wins.
Yeah.
And
so it's really like building rapport over a long period of time, which really gets you, in a good place as an agent in a certain area.
100%.
It's all those constant touch points over years.
Yeah, and keeping it specific, right? Like I think when I went out, our business, like I said, Cooperoo, Camp Hill, Norman Park. Yeah, that's where we transacted the most of the properties. Yeah, if you look at that could be around 8,000 homes. So I was like, right. Yeah. I'm going to talk to 8,000 owners once a month, every month until they sell. Yeah. And trying to do too much, they talk about quantity over quality. Yeah. Whereas now I might do 600 to 800. Yeah. But every time I talk to them, it's really quality conversation. Yeah. It may be once a quarter. Yeah. Okay. But that patch, that specific, for me, targeting 4170, the Norman Park 7 Hills. Yeah. Bringing it down so that, like I said before, if I call someone, they know. Yeah. They pick up the phone. They go, "Yeah, oh, hey Matt, how are you? Yeah, good to hear from you." Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. But I also find like there must be so many other agents also, competing for that business as well. So they must get phone call after phone call after phone call after person knocking on the door, email, 100%. Everything. So yeah, it really takes a lot to stand out to those sorts of homeowners. 100%. And I think a lot of agents, high performing agents, you come in as a young agent and you see them, or they're working with sellers and people call them to get an appraisal and they may have never actually met that person before. Yeah. So you're almost coming in seeing that and you're going, oh, well, I'll just wait for that phone call. Yeah. Because people call agents but no one, that may be a person that you sold for their brother 10 years ago. Yeah. So you've got to go out there and start that relationship, which, if I look at my career and position where I am now, I am getting those phone calls that I sold their cousin's property 2.5 years ago, and they caught up for lunch over the Easter holiday.
Yeah.
And now they're going, I had a great chat with them at the Easter lunch, and they said you were great. And, this could be 6, 8, 12, 24 months ago.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And would you say that having a personal brand or standing out in your marketplace is super important when it comes to getting phone calls like that as well?
Yeah. Well, you said it yourself. If you look at, there's a lot of agents out there. Everyone knows that. If you open up Rate My Agent, realestate.com, you just search, you can come up with tens of hundreds of agents to choose from with all different ages and identities and categories and styles of marketing. But you've got to set yourself apart at the end of the day, you've got to give a reason for that person. Yeah. And if you look at what Dennis and I have tried to do, it's try to position ourselves towards that higher end of the market. And the way we've tried to do that is obviously, work for the client first. Yeah. Protect price, be very price oriented. If this is someone's day-to-day business, buying, developing, building, constructing homes, properties, they want to achieve the best. So to have a consistent track record that we can point to in every conversation and every meeting with a potential client and go, yes, I understand you're interviewing 15 agents. Yeah. Here's what we can offer. Yeah. And it's tried and tested. Yeah. Talk to 1, 2, 3, look at 4, 5, 6 sales. Yeah. 150 meters, 200 just next door. Yeah, you and Dennis are definitely, the top of the tier in on South Side and in those core locations as well. Especially just from my point of view, when I look at social media and results based in those sort of areas, you guys are continuously getting great results, selling great properties at great prices, right? Yeah, and I mean, that's you've got to get them in the first place. I mean, that's what an agent does. You got to get the price, but then, like you said, this marketing it, right? There is some fantastic agents, I see, and I go, wow, how did they get that for that? Like that is incredible. Like if I got that as an agent, I would be over them. Those owners should be, 200-300 grand over reserve or what I think it's worth. Yet I'm the only one that sees that because I'm on realestate.com and I'm combing and I'm always doing the data and I'm always looking. Yeah. If you don't market that, if you don't show that to the market, that potential seller's never going to see that. They don't know it. Yeah, and that's one of my biggest assets is having someone like Dennis who is so, always wanting more. Yeah. Always wanting to improve. I want to do better with marketing. I want to do better I want the best open homes. I want the best marketing. I want the best for my clients. Yeah. Because obviously, yes, it's all about the client. Get the client the best price, get the client the best result. Yeah. But also that will benefit us. Yeah, exactly. It's a two-way street. Yeah. And what would you say, like when you think back on all the transactions you've done, what would you say has been the most challenging transaction that you've done successfully? Yeah, that's a really good question. I suppose, I won't name addresses or names, but there was a lovely family. Dennis and I were engaged to sell their property in one of our core areas. And, we'd known them and we'd been speaking to them for some time, and eventually the time came to sell their property, and we went about it. We listed it for sale, and they were committed to another property. Yeah. And there was a small window to manage, effectively market, do the open homes, style the property, get it all ready, have it on the market, close offers. Actually, sorry, take it to auction. Oh, okay. Yeah, and at auction we only had one registered bidder. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one to do. It's always a tough one, and the price that was on offer was it wasn't the price that we could even recommend our owners to consider. Yeah. So for them, it was I won't lie to you, it was a very tough conversation. Yeah. To say to this lovely family that we had a very good relationship with, like you were just working so hard for them because they're so genuine and sincere. Yeah. To say to them at auction, unfortunately, we've gone 4 weeks and we're going to have to pass it in, or we would recommend you to pass it in and go post auction. Yeah. And to say to them, look, we're asking for you to have the confidence in us as your chosen agent.
Yeah.
We will get it done. And it wasn't one of those stories where the next open home or the next week after the auction, we had a buyer come in cash unconditional. Oh, I couldn't bid at auction, and they bought it. It was 4 to 6 weeks post auction. And, you know, those conversations at the end, they're not easy.
Yeah.
The tough conversations have to be had. But, you know, we were having 2, 3, 4 conversations a day with them. Just
keeping them
calling. This is where we're at. This is what we've done today.
Yeah.
This is what we feel we should do tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is who I'm talking to. Walking them through it and keeping them involved.
Yeah.
And eventually we got there and we sold it. We got a cash unconditional contract.
Yeah.
It allowed them to sell and to settle and to move into their new home with their young children.
That's amazing. What a result.
So yeah, and we were really happy, and it's sort of one where you look back and you know there's a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
But even after speaking to them, they said, look, it was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly what we planned for, what we thought was going to happen. But, you know, they're as much to credit as we were for giving us the support and keeping confident in us as their chosen agent.
Yeah.
To stick with us and, you know, for us to eventually get that good result for them.
Yes, fantastic. That's a good story.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. It must feel like so rewarding to actually be able to deliver after such a long process, and keeping them calm and keeping that confidence in you and your team and everything.
Yeah, well, that's what I say to, like, if I'm sitting down at the kitchen table to do a listing presentation,
Yeah.
you know, I ask people straight up, I say, well, look, an agent will pitch commission and marketing and specialist in your suburb, but I think you've got to ask yourself, or I actually ask them, I say, who do you get on the most with in terms of the agent? Who do you feel, especially if it is husband and wife or 2 partners selling a family home, I ask them, who do you most enjoy conversing, dealing with over just
everyone.
The kitchen table, or over the past time that you've known that agent?
Yeah.
Catches them a little bit off guard, but I think once I explained to them, I said, well, you are going to be speaking to this agent or to these agents for, you know, in some instances, multiple months.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not always going to be easy conversations. No,
definitely not. And communication plays such a huge factor in real estate, I find. Even dealing with other agents, just keeping them informed where you're sitting, or your buyers are sitting, or your vendors. Huge. And just updating your vendors, even if you don't have, you know, any news to tell them, just giving them a call and letting them know, hey, I don't have any news today, but I just wanted to touch base and let you know this is where we're at.
Exactly. And I think, you know, one of the funniest things I find about real estate agents is I've had friends who are real estate agents, you know, they will sell their own property, and sometimes they don't always sell it themselves. Sometimes they go to a friend who's an agent. Yeah. And I've had this with colleagues that I've worked closely with, and seeing how they are when selling their own home is
completely different,
eye-opening. Yeah. I've been to auctions with friends to bid on a property, like just as a support, and the feeling you get as an agent. And I think I've done hundreds of auctions, and I never feel like this. Like, there are always nerves, but that feeling, it is very eye-opening to think, wow, this is how they feel. So you're 100% correct. If you don't have something to, you know, talk about, you may just call them and just say, hey, I'm just touching base. This is, you know, there have been no inquiries, or we have done everything. Maybe there's not anything immediately that you need to know. Just give them a heads up.
Just staying informed,
100%.
And how do you tailor your approach when dealing with sellers and buyers when it comes to like putting a deal together?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's specific or dependent on the type of client. Yeah. You know, like we said before, we are very fortunate to have a lot of repeat clientele who are, you know, some are developers, some are families, but, you know, a developer client tends to be a little bit more straightforward. Yeah. Dennis and I, the team as an extension, we're very transparent in the way we deal. We're very straightforward and we're very honest. So we take that approach with with our vendors, but we also take it with buyers, and we understand both sides of the party. Like I said before, I've been on that buying side, and I realize how emotionally stressful it can be.
Yeah.
But also for the sellers, if it's a developer, historically you could say they're a little bit more inclined to look at the figures as more of a business transaction.
Yeah.
But if it is a family, like I said before, that family that we were selling for, there is sometimes a little bit more of that emotional attachment involved.
Yeah.
And how that translates to the buyers, if it's an investor, they might go about the purchase more like a developer. But if it's we've got an auction this coming Friday, and it's unit that's perfect for a first home buyer.
Yeah.
The way that you would deal with that buyer and those owners is different than the way you would deal with a developer and an investor.
Yeah, exactly.
The emotion comes into play, but
it's a huge factor, I find, when dealing with clients. If they're a home buyer or a first-time home buyer, very emotional, you have to be very informative and nurturing throughout the whole process and educational. But when it comes to investors or developers, it's very numbers-driven and, results. And it's usually a lot easier or simpler. Maybe not easier, but simpler.
Yeah, it's just a different conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes, you almost think, or you can sort of be led falsely astray with the developers. You just go, oh, well, I want to find them a knockdown rebuild, right? And then, if they have no stock coming up and you're there to acquire, or and if you're there to sell, maybe to sell to fund their next pipeline, those are some of the toughest conversations to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you can take an emotional attachment to a family home or dwelling is one thing, but then, to take their everyday livelihood, like this is what they do day in, day out, from the moment they wake up. It's like us. But for developers, it's from the moment they wake up to when they go to sleep at night. Yeah. They're switched on.
And they're usually pretty educated on the marketplace and what's happening and what things are selling for, so they know what they can get or what they should be paying. So there's a lot less education in that sort of sense if they're a local for that area.
Yeah, and you've got to know, right? Like they might, I don't know about your clients, but I know we have we have mutual clientele that we both know, and I still can speak for myself personally. They'll test you.
Yeah,
they'll want to know that you know.
Yeah,
or they may know and they'll act like they don't. And sales price, they might just say, "Oh, hey, what did this sell for?"
Yeah, and just to check.
Yeah, and 95% of the time we'll know, because that's our. We're a bit obsessive like that. But the biggest thing is for us, the biggest thing Dennis has instrumented in our team is, if you don't know, just ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you mind if I just take 5?
Yeah.
And call the agent, seller, whoever, and I'll just get that information for you.
Yeah, it's essential to have your finger on the pulse and know what's going on.
100%.
And if you're employing someone to sell your greatest asset or buy one for you, you want to know that they know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And I think that's super important. So they're just doing their due diligence, really.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of new technology that's coming into real estate, especially on your side of the fence, in regards to different tools for prospecting or, presentations and appraisals and things like that. Can you share a little bit about maybe the process or tools that you're implementing at the moment with your team?
Yeah, 100%. The first thing that comes to mind, I suppose, is marketing.
Yeah.
That's, you talk to any agent about how they're trying to get their leg up on a competitor, trying to get to that next level. And 9 times out of 10, they'll have a point of difference with marketing.
Yeah.
I can get you more inquiry. I can get you more inspections. I can get you more whatever it is. And that comes from the marketing. It could be something from online platforms, realestate.com, domain. There's all these new view.com.au.
Yeah.
It could be, I've got this excellent photographer. We've got an incredible photographer near a creative that we found that a lot of people use now.
Yeah.
And to find that team, the thing I really like about our business place as a business is they're very innovative.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is a classic example is if you make an inquiry on one of our properties at 2:30 a.m. in the morning on a Monday morning, I'm surely going to be in bed. Yeah. And I'm not going to be replying to that within a couple of minutes. Yeah. If you're a qualified, genuine buyer, maybe you're overseas, you're ready to buy, we have an AI technology that instantly replies to that, introduces itself. Here's all of the information I can provide. Do you have any questions? If I wake up hours later, I've got an email in my inbox saying, "Hi, Matt. Received this inquiry. This is what I've said. This is what they've requested. These are all the documents that they've seen and viewed. Here's their name, number, and email, and they've asked you to contact them via text, email, or call them." And for me to make that call, if I was a seller, I love to hear that, because one, the second they've made an inquiry, straight onto. The information has been provided. Two, your agent is now set up to have a much more constructive and effective conversation with a potential buyer. And then three, as an agent, the reason I like that is, one, I can help my client. But two, if that person has a property to sell and they make 10 inquiries and only one of them gets back to them at 2:30 a.m. on a Monday, I can reasonably assume that if I was that seller and I was thinking, who would I want to take care of my property transaction, my sale?
First person.
It would most likely be the one that is in some way, agent or AI, responded to me at 2:30 in the morning and then called me with those touch points.
Just naturally you'll feel like you're being looked after, even if it's the AI that you don't know. We're only human. If I'm not going to stay up at 2:30 a.m. just to wait for an email. And so that's one of the biggest ways that we're staying, just trying to stay next step. And like I said before, with the marketing, with our open homes, Dennis is very big on, if there's something to learn, we want to learn it. If there's something to implement, we want to implement it straight away. And what sort of strategies do you implement once you do, say, get a vendor that wants to sell their home? Say, for example, a luxury home that you sell a lot of. Do you employ different tactics when it comes to doing a teaser video, to coming soon, to launching, to doing the first open home? Do you have certain tactics and if you're happy to share them?
Absolutely. We're very open with our tactics, because I suppose you can see them on the marketing and the social media. Every client is different, and some people just say, no, I want to get it on the market. I'm ready to go. We'll do 4 weeks and we'll auction it. Some people want it off market, see if there's buyers agents, qualified buyers. In that space, that new build, the development, southeast Brisbane, we have a very large number of people that we know are qualified buyers in that space. If you've got a new home in Camp Hill, Coorparoo, Norman Park, and it's a decent quality home, there's every chance that we would have someone who we can bring through, and I would be more than surprised if they didn't offer. Now, that's not a guarantee, but when we offer that at the listing table, a lot of people will go, well, that's great. I've got 3 weeks until my property's going to be ready, painting the fence or whatever. In that time, if there was an offer, I would entertain it. So as a holistic view, you could say from date of engagement, 2 weeks of off market. In that off market period, marketing, copywriting, advertising, photography, styling, all of that. You can either entertain offers prior. You can just get your qualified buyers through and say, look, unfortunately, we will be listing on the market. But we still wanted to give you the first opportunity to view the home. And then, once you go on, it's, first week can look like a VIP preview. Buyers agents that we know and trust, who have qualified buyers, opening it up to our database. Our office is very collaborative. So when we list a property, if there is a space or an opportunity to purchase it prior, there's, 10, 12, 13 agents, really good agents in our office that we can reach out to and go, here's the address, this is the price guide, have a look, here's some photos in the floor plan. You can send it to your database. We have Tuesday 6 to 6:30 p.m. to view. My owners will consider selling prior. And, you can go about that way, but then obviously you can go with the full marketing thereafter.
Okay. No, that's really interesting. And so, I get at this question quite a lot, and I thought it might be good for the listeners to hear it from someone like yourself, is a lot of the time, if the market is as good as it is right now, why would someone be interested in selling their property off market or pre-market?
Yeah, there's a number of answers. I suppose the first one and the first answer, I should say, and the most obvious answer is personal situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are willing to take, we say you could compromise on price for the comfort of not having to do open homes. And I suppose maybe owners, they're a bit risk adverse. If they say, well, I'm incredibly busy, or for whatever reason, open homes may not suit, or maybe there's a little bit more of time constraint, then they will go, I would be more inclined to tie this up off market. But another example, could be that we might have pushed that from day one. The way we could have gotten in the door is saying, if it is a cold call this person up and say, I have a buyer for your home. Just sold number 32 up the road.
Yeah.
Jane and James, for example, just missed out.
Yeah.
This is their budget. This is what they're looking for. I was driving, I was putting the sold sign up. I was driving past and I saw your house and I just had a look. I just took a photo and sent it to them and I said, look, I don't know these owners, but would this be the type of home you'd be interested in? They called me back straight away and said, we love it.
Yeah.
You could have gotten in the door in the first place from the off-market perspective.
Yeah.
And then I suppose the final one, why someone would sell off-market, is because there may still be a fantastic price on offer. We see people pay good prices for properties off-market. Far too often do I see buyers think or fall into the idea that off-market you can get a bargain.
Yeah, it's not always the case.
It's not always the case. How do you know that if that property didn't go online, that there would not have someone been above you?
Yeah.
So even from the buyer's perspective, it's a little bit unknown.
Yeah. So some of the main factors are obviously personal situation.
Yep.
Sometimes there could be a divorce or breakup in the family, and maybe they don't want to list it and show and have the embarrassment of friends and other family members see the property. Sometimes it might be a financial situation, death in the family, and sometimes just like an older couple or just someone that doesn't want hundreds of people going through their house every weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Or maybe, and this is not always the case, but our relationship is a perfect example of how to answer this question. Someone calls me with an 810 square meter post-war on 2 lots in Camp Hill that has flat.
Yeah.
I know I can call you.
Yeah.
And you would have an offer for me, cash, within an hour.
Yeah.
So sometimes an owner will call and you can say to them, look, if you were to engage my services as your agent, a large part of my job is to offer professional advice and advise you on the sale of your home.
Yeah.
We always say that, look, from my experience and what the market has always proven to us is that an on-market sale competition will in most instances drive and deliver the best price for your property. Having said that, if you have a property of exceptional uniqueness, 810 double block, the development stock is moving very well at the moment. They will more than likely ask you, well, do you feel that we could still obtain a very strong price off market? And we have to say, of course you can. Because we have relationships with people like yourselves and our clientele for those particular properties.
And typically they can save money on marketing costs and things like that as well. Obviously, you can be their soundboard, show them comparable sales on where their house is going to sit in the marketplace, actively today with the most, comparables.
Exactly.
So that always gives you a really good idea on where the property sits in the marketplace.
And we're really big on being, like I said before, without trying to sound like a broken record, we're really big on being honest. We have many clients that just come to us for our opinion, because we will always just tell you honestly what we think and feel. And sometimes people will call us because they say, look, we've had friends or family that have sold with you, and they said, you're very reputable and you're a trusted agent. And if we go down the pathway and we get a decent offer off market, and Dennis and I, we fundamentally believe that is good value for the property, and that is a very competitive offer. And my owners ask us, well, as our professional advisor, as our agent, what do you think? If we feel that is
A good price.
a good price, a good offer, a good outcome for them, then that's
Yeah.
what we will suggest. But
Yeah.
that, to contrast, that goes the other way.
Yeah.
If someone's really, really keen to sell off market, doesn't want to do open homes, but we feel that the offer, the outcome, the potential outcome on offer is not maybe where it could be.
Yeah.
Say the same thing.
Yeah, it's really situational dependent, hey, because I did notice you and Dennis sold a luxury home recently in Camp Hill, off market, prior to completion, no staging, wasn't finished being painted, or, it's still a construction site, basically. It was a fair few weeks off, but you guys got a great result from that.
Yeah.
So, it's amazing. Like, for some developers, and they might be committed on other projects, or they might be interested to move on, or they have their different reasons as well. But if you guys are able to get them that great result prior to going to market or prior to completion, sometimes it's just the best option, the safe bet.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, as an agent, you can provide all the advice, all the information, all the recommendations, all the buyers, all the offers. You can provide everything you physically can.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's up to the client.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
You don't own the property. Your name is not on the title. You can provide all of your advice. And if they want to go another way, then we will support you every step of the way. And, we never try to get to, this is the only way, this is the only answer, this is the only option.
Yeah.
There's always options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for people that are thinking about taking their home to market, home owners, do you have any, say, tips or advice that you could give them to present their property in the best light, or any things that they could do prior to going to market?
Yeah. Well, number one thing I always say to people is to get an agent through that sold a property maybe on your street or in your area for a good price recently.
Yeah.
Maybe one that is comparable or similar to yours, because I can bet you, that property, what it looks like when you went through the open home, is definitely not what it looked like 6 to 8 weeks before it was listed.
Yeah.
That agent, really good agents will walk through and they'll be honest and they'll say, we do this. We say, look, you'll obviously want an appraisal so we can discuss the value of your home and the marketing and the commission and the time on market, all those things.
Yeah.
But in another way, if you're selling in a month to half a year, I would love to point out some things that will increase the value of your property. And it's all too common that I can walk through and say, look, a new bit of carpet, just maybe redoing the cornices, or there's a bit of wood rot there, or, can you make sure your termite barrier is all in white? There's a number of things, but when you go to market, if you've had an agent come through who is obviously well-versed in giving that advice and has achieved that result, potentially based on giving that advice to their own owners. Yeah. That's what I'd do if I was selling my home.
Yeah.
100%.
No, that's good advice. And so, like, reflecting on your career till now, what's one piece of advice that you wish you had starting out?
It's a good question. Saving the best for last.
Yeah.
One piece of advice that I would give if I was talking to my younger self.
Yeah. Right before you entered.
I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Myself personally, I'm the type of personality or person that just dives headfirst in. Yeah. Like, do it now.
Hands-on.
Yeah. I'm like, ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
And sometimes that bites me in the ass, and that's, how I deal with scenarios. Yeah. The one thing that I quickly learned, and again, saying like I had a mentor like Dennis, is in real estate, you said it yourself, it's not always, every client is not always the same. It's not one size fits all. You've got to juggle a lot. There's a lot of different hats that you wear. Just be very open and almost be like a sponge, especially if you're coming in fresh, especially if you're young. Yeah. Sometimes if you don't have necessarily that life experience to teach you the fundamentals of, the emotions that go with transacting your biggest asset. Yeah. You've just got to be completely arms open and probably listen more, say less. Yeah. That would be my biggest thing. Try and listen as much as possible and learn as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because then, when I was door knocking day one, I'd door knock and then I'd just have no idea what to say.
Yeah.
But if you listen and you learn, and then you go out and you do that cold call, that door knock, and you have the script perfect, and you just know exactly, and you're confident, you're well dressed, you're well versed, and you deliver it perfectly, then you will either develop that relationship, you'll get that listing, or you'll sell that house.
Fantastic.
And you can only gain that skill by listening, as opposed to
and just keep doing it.
And I have trouble. I won't lie to you. I still have trouble with that now.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I think we're all guilty of this, sometimes you go, oh, I've learned from that last time, so I know now what to do. And you try it a different way and you stuff it up again.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you've got to go back to the drawing board and go, well, you know how on that podcast with Jack I said, listen more. And then you sort of, it still happens, and you never,
trial and error.
You'll never get it right. Yeah. But at the end of the day, listen more than you speak, especially as a young person entering into the game. And if you can tie yourself to a really good agent and a really good mentor, that's only going to be it's only going to be a bonus.
Just learn your market.
Exactly. Yeah. Be diligent.
Epic. Well, thanks so much for coming on, mate.
Likewise.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, if they want to get in touch with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on the place's website. The easiest way is just to type up my name into your search browser, Matt Langfield at Place, Wollongabba. My email, my name, my mobile, my contact details are on there. And like most real estate agents will say, we're always available.
Fantastic.
We're always ready to help.
We'll have to get you back on in a couple of years.
Looking forward to it, mate.